Faced with the prospect of no work, people tend to fall back on the skills they already have. So naturally, a common thought is, I'll become a driving instructor. And if the adverts are to be believed, it's an opportunity to be your own boss, to work flexible hours and to earn up to £30,000 a year. Sounds great. And it was an offer Patrick Lister from Otley near Leeds couldn't ignore. He thought redundancy was the perfect time to capitalise on his 39 years of driving and invested in a course with one of the UK's largest driving schools, RED.
I saw the TV advert and at the time I was obviously looking for a change in career and something else, and it appealed to me. The way they sold it, the flexibility, working the hours that suited you, that really appealed to me.
Red's claims of big potential earnings were very tempting, so he made a quick call to the driving school and was invited down to see them.
I had a little presentation at first and then took me out for a drive in one of their vehicles. And then later on he said, right, you've had a drive, I've assessed your driving's good, you'll have no problems. I've noticed you can talk and hold a conversation while you're driving, so that will be a big benefit while you're actually teaching. And it painted a very rosy picture of the organisation.
Patrick says Red told him there was a national shortage of driving instructors and demand for lessons was on the increase, and that he could earn up to £30,000 a year. In fact, life as a driving instructor was recession-proof. Patrick signed up on the spot, paying £3,500.
They sold it really well. I was concerned about my age, and they said, don't worry about it, you'll have no problem, follow our guidelines and we'll teach you good habits, you'll soon forget your bad habits.
Patrick is one of over 100,000 people in the last 5 years to have embarked on courses to become driving instructors. But what he didn't realise was that nationally, 77% of those who apply never make it. Tonight has spoken to many who say claims made by instructor colleges, not just RED, are very optimistic about how quickly you can qualify and the potential earnings on the job.
The idea that driving instruction is a recession-proof job is laughable, really. At the moment there's a massive surplus of driving instructors. People are tripping over themselves, these companies trying to teach people to be instructors and saying there are thousands of pupils out there to be had, and the reality is there's less pupils to be taught and more driving instructors, often not well-trained driving instructors, fighting over them.
Tonight would have liked to have surveyed all Britain's 44,000 instructors, but we didn't have time. So we called 30 instead. Not many, but still a random selection. We asked them all, were they earning £30,000 a year? They said no, they were earning between 11 and 21,000. Did they think there was a national shortage? They all said competition for work's tough and making a living is getting harder. And we asked, is your job recession-proof? All but 4 of them said they were affected by recession like anyone else. Tonight was contacted by former instructor trainers at RED who say people were taken on when it was clear they'd struggle to pass, and those on the course would find it difficult due to the lack of availability of lessons. Phil Hurst runs a rival driving instructor trainer firm and says he receives calls from fed-up trainee instructors from other companies.
They're saying they're angry, they're disillusioned, disappointed with the process they've gone through. They've spent £3,000–4,000 and not achieved the aim that they set out to achieve and were promised. And why should they have to spend a lot more money trying to get qualified? And that's what they're going to have to do. And I typically would give them another 20 hours of training to help them achieve what they wanted to, and that's going to cost them £700–800, and they're not happy, and I can see why.
And as far as they're concerned, that's not what they were sold at the beginning.
It's not what they were sold at the beginning, and it's a reality for many people.
Remember Patrick in Otley? He invested his redundancy in becoming a driving instructor and was expecting to enter a recession-proof career when he qualified, a claim questioned by many in the industry. He was also told he could pass in 20 weeks, no problem. We sent him out with Phil Hurst to get his personal assessment.
About what I would expect at this stage. Quite a few car control problems, particularly rolling back on hills, need to use his parking brake and so on. We need to get a lot of discipline into Pat's gear work.
Do you think there's any chance that Pat could get through this course and be a fully qualified driving instructor in 20 weeks?
Unlikely. The time frame 20 weeks is very tight.
When you hear all that, Pat, what do you think?
It's not good news at all, and it's the exact opposite to what I was told originally.
We've spoken to others who challenged claims made by Red, so we wanted to put our findings to Chief Executive David Downing. You and your salespeople talk about driving instructing being a recession-proof industry, and it's just not, is it?
Well, we say in our literature, we say that it's as recession-proof as it comes. And the reason we say that, Fiona, is when recession comes and people who are learning to drive, they still learn to drive. The majority of people may not buy a car when they pass their test, but the majority of people will still learn to drive.
You say people will always need to learn how to drive, but the Driving Standards Agency says that figures for learner drivers were down 52,000 last summer on the year before.
And out of 1.8 million, that is a very, very small percentage drop. But if you look at the Driver Vehicle Licensing Authority, who issue driving licence, they're forecasting an increase of 15% for first driving licences in 2008 to 2009.
The DVLA tell us that predicted 15% increase was made before the recession, and they've now revised that figure to a 10% drop in new licences. The Driving Instructors Association says it's not recession-proof. We've rung 30 driving instructors at random to ask them. They say it's far from being recession-proof and that times are very tough out there for them.
The Driving Instructors Association is a membership body. It's not a government body. It is a very, very good and credible body, but it has a vested interest into letting people think that there isn't a market out there. Because its members, the less driving instructors in the market, the more its members can charge. There are 45,000 driving instructors, approved driving instructors, qualified on the register at the moment. So 30 is really not a good sample, Fiona, I don't think.
Do you accept that the vast majority of people who sign up to your courses are never going to earn £30,000 a year, they're never going to pass their exams in 20 weeks, and they're entering into a profession which is neither undersubscribed nor recession-proof?
I totally do not accept that, Fiona. I do not accept that. The majority of driving instructors out there are self-employed, independent. They don't join a driving school. So it is up to them to do their marketing and attract their pupils. We tell people the pass rates are published. We show people those pass rates as we talk to them. And it's like any training, Fiona. You've been on training courses where you're in the classroom and 30 people are at the beginning of the course, and by the end of the course there's 20 people left in the course. That's just the nature of training. We would love everyone to go through the course, but for various reasons, people decide they want to drop out.
After the interview, Red told us they commissioned their own survey of Red instructors and found 93% were happy their job met their expectations. And another industry survey they carried out showed a majority were earning a good living. Red also told us they'd toned down the wording and claims made in their literature. Patrick has decided that being a driving instructor isn't for him after all, and is pulling out of the course, losing his £3,500.
I think there should be far more transparent and open and upfront with people. Let you know, A, how difficult it is, B, are you suitable? Because when I went down for the assessment, I came away thinking, well, this is my job, I can do this.
The Office of Fair Trading